mortgage crisis is still affecting many Valley homeowners. You can get the advice you need, though, to get out from under. And here to show us how you can solve your mortgage blues is Lathe Lavada. He's a certified distressed property expert broker for First Prime Realty Group. Welcome in, Lathe. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well. Let's talk about Nevada and how it's stacking up now compared to other states nationally when it comes to recovering from the foreclosure crisis and the mortgage meltdown that we faced.
Well, according to a Zillow market overview, we've got a long ways to go, but we are increasing in value. 6% in the next 12 months is what they estimate.
Okay.
Nationally, it's 3% is what they're estimating as far as value increases. So it looks pretty good on the surface. But when you consider all those folks that are upside down by double of what their homes are still worth, then it's a little bit different story.
Well, I mean, if you think, some of these homes lost 70% of their value. So,
yes.
Of course, even though we've had some growth, they're still under. And luckily, we've heard a lot about short sales and how there's a solution for people that are in this distressed situation. What's that solution?
Well, I mean, short sales is where you short the lender how much you owe.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks, you know, if they had a hardship such as a medical hardship, a loss in income or something like that, or they had to relocate out of state, they're unable to rent that property to cover the mortgage. That puts them in a bad situation where they can't make that mortgage payment and they've got to do something. And the short sale allows them to short that home for less than it's worth, get out of the property with a deficiency waiver. We get a ton of deficiency waivers. That hasn't ended. A lot of people misconstrue that for the Debt Forgiveness Act that ended at the end of the year. Totally different. And you can still get out of that tax liability in a lot of ways. The debt forgiveness didn't cover everyone. I have a lot of folks come in the office and they say, yeah, I was covered with the Debt Forgiveness Act. It hasn't ended. Problem is they took out a couple $100,000 worth of refinance money.
Oh.
That's not covered in the Debt Forgiveness Act. The refinance money, if you didn't put it back into the home, isn't covered. But insolvency, on the other hand, when you're insolvent on your tax returns, that gets you out of the tax liability, and that, in my opinion, covers a lot more people.
Well, luckily with the Homeowners Bill of Rights, we're getting answers of whether or not we're approved for a short sale a little sooner. But what if we're not approved for a short sale? What can we do then?
Well, there are other options. I recommend folks, if they got to keep the home and they're not going to live in it, and if you are going to live in it, you can do a loan modification, maybe get a principal reduction, a reduction on your monthly payment. You could do a HARP refinance or a streamlined VA FHA refinance. But let's say you're not going to live there. What do you do in that case and you can't sell it for some reason, such as a job or a military clearance or something like that? The next best option is to either rent it out or rent it out with an option to buy. So you're going to give that person who rents that property out a first right of refusal, basically, to buy it in the future at a fixed price. And usually this will garner a much higher rental rate on the property and allow that homeowner to sell it at a higher price in the future, so that you're in an equity position and you can move on without doing the short sale.
It's a pretty smart idea. I like that. For people that can get a short sale, how much does it cost to do something like that, and how do you get started?
Well, that's the great thing about what I offer. I don't charge anything for the short sale up front. There are some professionals out there who will charge an upfront fee, but we don't charge anything to do the short sale or the short sale buyback, and that's where you would short sale the home to an investor and then buy it back in the future. It's basically a lease with an option to buy in the future, so we line folks up with investors.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great option, especially because I hate moving.
Yeah.
Moving is the worst thing in the world, so if you can stay put, awesome. Let's talk about, you have an informational CD. It's called Real Estate Rescue. Tell me about this.
Well, that's a show that we recorded in studio, and we put together about 30 minutes of information on all these programs that I'm talking about: the FHA, VA, Streamline Refinance, the HARP program, the loan modification, the principal reduction. The list goes on, short sale buyback and the short sale, to give folks an idea of what's out there, what options do they have. We talk about the Debt Forgiveness Act, the insolvency, because a lot of these things just aren't there in the marketplace to let folks know that there is still a way out. They're not corralled into a corner just because they think they have to pay taxes, or they think that the deficiency waiver, the banks are going to come after them for the amount due. A lot of these things are just, unfortunately, misnomers.
I got to say, it seems to be you're here for information. You're telling us what to do here. You have the CD if you need to know more. And if after all this you still have questions, you can either call the office or you have a radio show.
Right. We have a radio show every Saturday, 7 to 8 a.m. And, of course, we offer a free consultation, so folks can give us a call. We'll sit down one-on-one, feel like a forensic scientist in a lot of ways. You dissect the situation and figure out what's going to be best for the homeowner, whether to keep the home, sell the home, remodify the home, whatever it is. We just sit down and have a conversation on what it is that you need to do to keep moving forward in a positive way.
CSI Las Vegas Real Estate.
That's right.
With Lathe Lavada. Lathe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, you can catch Lathe on the radio. Real Estate Zone, if you can be heard 7 to 8 a.m. on 7:20 a.m. KDAWN. That's on Saturdays. If you'd like more information on short sales, foreclosures, really anything real estate related, just get ahead to the website or call the number on your screen. Lathe is also on Facebook and Twitter, and free consultations you can find there as well.